All right, Luca Nation. If the behind the scenes, if the pre-podcast is anything like what this next 60 minutes, 70 minutes is going to be like, you're going to want to stay till the end because this is going to be straight fire. Cage's on Coke number 6. Max knows exactly what's on Cage's wall. ShaiwayVlogs is already ripping his PAX pen at 9:30 a.m. So this is about to be a fire episode. We got two of my favorite people in the hobby on. We got two guys that teamed up to do what I think is one of the best podcasts in the game. It's ShaiwayVlogs and PutnamCards. They started about 5 weeks ago. I think they're on episode 5 or 6 now. Pause this, go ahead, subscribe, because they give it to you straight. They're guys that are kindred spirits. They're a little polar opposite in the way they go about stuff, which is super cool. They say styles make fights. But go ahead, subscribe. I think you're going to get a lot of value. Shai, Max, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo Mai. It's really good to have you both here.
Thank you. Appreciate having us on.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. I'm very, very excited about this.
I love it because we just had a raucous 10 minutes before the pod, and then we hit record, we hit live, and it's like everyone is so professional now. Yes, put on he's got the game face on. I love it. It's great. It's awesome. I love it. This is good stuff. So listen, what's the podcast called? Does it have a name?
Yes, it's called Hobby Update.
Hobby Update. So when you're going to look to subscribe something, it's called Hobby Update. Which one of you brainiacs came up with that?
I think we're trying to go back and forth with the names. So I think we just decided that is it too plain Jane? It's not as
I like it.
As Lucas, Tiger, Bronze. I mean, straight to the point. Hobby update.
I like. Listen, Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze. I mean, we it's very polarizing. I gotta tell you, people come and they're like, "What's with the music?" And then some people are like, "That music is fire." Some people are like, "We love the intro." Some people are like, "That's so kitschy." Some people say it's cringe. Some people say LeBron is a GOAT. Some people say he shouldn't even be in our title. I mean, you can go a lot of different ways with it. But Lucas, Tigers, and Jordans it didn't have the ring,
Right. I agree. But yeah, I mean.
Shai's already getting calls. Shai makes deals all the time, and he picked up what he was saying is going to be a monster card, one of his best cards for his PC at the Dallas show. Before we go to Putnam Cards, before we go to Max. Shai, give us some stories. What was the Dallas card show like? Did you bring your videographer with you? Any cool stories that stick out?
There was so much going down. I went there with zero expectations, literally just to socialize, man. Since I don't go out anymore, this is my life now. All you guys are my life, literally. That's how knee deep I'm into the hobby now. I don't even talk to my regular friends. But when there's zero expectations, Friday night, boom, I saw something. I was vlogging, try to keep you guys, let you know what's going on. Friday night, I saw something. And then Saturday, I went back to my room and just trying to really strategize on how the hell I'm going to take this card home. So that's why I went MIA a little bit on Saturday, and Sunday the deal was closed. So that was my personal journey in this Dallas show. But a lot of stuff happened. I'm sure you heard, scams, fights. And
no, I didn't hear any of that. Listen, we weren't there. Andrew and I, we keep the veil of secrecy up there as much as you can have the secret of a daily podcast that shows themselves on YouTube every day. But we try to remain anonymous as possible. So we don't go to card shows. So we didn't hear about this. We didn't hear about fights, and we didn't hear about scams. And I got to tell you, I don't want you going to Dallas anymore, because you guys, you got to check this out on YouTube. He's doing this podcast from his bed. All right, he's in his bed.
Oh, do you want?
And I'm going to tell you, I missed you when you were in Dallas, because you do the stories sometimes from your bed, and it's like I cut the cord and I lost Cinemax, and there's a Cinemax show like bedtime stories, and it's like the smooth sounds, and they whisper from the bed, and I get my stories of ShaiwayVlogs, and he's in his bed, and I missed it because you were in Dallas, you were in a different bed, I didn't recognize the headboard, I was very upset.
Yeah, that was just keeping everybody up to date. I got a lot of good responses. People love to know what's going on the floor, the nitty ditty, and my thought process of some of the things that's going on.
So tell us, dude. Tell us about a scam. Tell us about a fight.
All right. So I mean, one of the major one was
Max doesn't want to hear this. Max is like, either I heard this 11 times or I don't want to hear it.
Literally just spoke about it. We literally just spoke. I mean, you know what? I mean, since I was there, so on Sunday night, I'm hearing that a kid. Allegedly, bought a raw card, a Jordan Fleer 86, raw from a dealer, that was from New York, surprisingly. I know it's such a bad rep. Cage's from New York, so I was like, who the hell could that be? But whatever. But yeah, so he sold him a raw card, and then later on found out, like hours later, however long, I'm not sure, that it was fake. He wanted to return it. The guy said all sales final.
Oof.
So there's so many takes from this. You know, you could look at it from both different angles, as a dealer's point of view, as you know, why are you selling a raw card that's extremely heavily counterfeited, that from one of the oldest counterfeited cards is the Fleer 86 Jordan. That type of card, no matter how much experience you have, you know, I would just recommend buying it in a slab, you know, hands down, like just to avoid this. So it goes both ways. The dealer, he could have just slabbed it and then avoided this, and the kid just could have just not bought it, or taken somebody that really has good knowledge of it, like a friend or something, and then, you know, take a look at the card.
Without going too deep into it, because I think you guys, I mean, you bring such
Yeah.
a great combination to the hobby, to the talk, the whole deal. I want to get you guys talking. It is an interesting topic. Just the fraud in the hobby, and just the fake cards, and all the, you know, the different ways of people trying to scam other people. And it'd be great if we could get rid of some of that, but it'll never go away. As a matter of fact, it's such a, we didn't plan this, we don't script any of this stuff, but it's such an on-point topic. And you talk about how if you're going to get that 86 Fleer, get it slabbed. In one of our groups this morning, you know, we have a bunch of Instagram groups, and guys, if anybody wants to get in on any of them, please let us know. Message us. You know, we have so many of them. But somebody sent us a picture of a Jordan Fleer that they just bought. It was a PSA 9, and he was all excited. And it's a great Jordan. Look at this card. It's nice centered. And then he turned the slab to the side, and right where the slab sticker, the label would be PSA. It's like, it looks like somebody shoved a flathead screwdriver into it. You could see it's like, you know, it's like separated frosting, a little bit of a line on it.
It sounds like someone shoved a flathead screwdriver into your headphones today too. Just saying.
Nice, awesome. So anyway, obviously it becomes a guess of, did somebody mess with it? Did somebody do it there and slide in a? Did somebody slide in a like a new label? Like,
right.
Is it an authentic card, but it was a 6 or a 7, and somebody slid a 9 in?
Right.
You know, what'd they do? What's the story? Or is it a fake card? You know,
right.
Did somebody take a 9 and slide out a 9 and put in, a card that's fake? Who the hell knows? I mean, it's a shame, because you're spending that kind of money.
Yeah, I know. It really sucks. Another thing, I mean, if you really, really scared anyone, you know what I mean? More, just like, look at that. Even buying something that's slabbed and still you have to worry. Buy it from reputable dealers. You know what I mean? Like, you can see some of the top guys, because I've heard of stories of guys buying from reputable dealers cards that were questionable in terms of authenticity, maybe, or like just deeper, and they got their money back. Like, because the bigger dealers, they gotta hold their name. You know what I mean? They never want to be known as the guy that, you know, that's screwed and not gonna, you know, do anything around. So I've heard stories about people like in this situation, and they were made right, actually, believe it or not. Like, the whole trade got unwind. So there's some good people in the hobby.
A little positivity. Yeah. The last few months have been a bit negative for the hobby, and for my feeling. I love positivity. I'm an optimist, and I want to turn this to Max, and I want to read a review that actually might be ShaiwayVlogs that has the speaker thing, but we're gonna rock with it. I want to read a review that someone left. It was by CD Powell 341. Max has a fantastic perspective on the hobby. He does a great job articulating his perspective as a true basketball collector while providing valuable insight with an investor mindset. 5 stars isn't enough for this podcast. And I feel this 100%. I've only interacted with Max PutnamCards, you know, for 30 minutes before this episode, but I could tell the guy knows his stuff. And I'm curious, Max, could you tell us your origin story? Could you tell us how you got into the hobby and how you built such an awesome collection?
Yeah, so just first, let me clarify that I paid for that comment, that review. That's not organic. I planted that there, but yeah. So I started in, yeah, CD, yeah. He got paid for that, but I started in 2008. I had started then, and I haven't never left the hobby since. But in 2008, it was more just like, I mean, I didn't even know really that cards were valuable. It was more just collecting for the sake of collecting. Back when hobby boxes were $100, $50, when it was still pretty affordable to rip a lot of wax. You know, like my dad would take me to the card shop every Sunday, and we'd get a pack or a box or something. And just over the years, I built up a collection. Then I probably when like Wiggins was drafted in 2014, that year was kind of when I started realizing what prospecting was. I loaded up on the Pistons' second-round draft pick that year, Spencer Dinwiddie, which actually turned out to be a somewhat decent investment over time, even though that's not really what I was going for. But yeah, 2014, 2015, 2016, those years, I kind of was digesting the market aspect of cards, I guess, because at that time I was like 15, 16 years old. And then in 2018 with Luca, I just jumped right in, and that's really when I started taking the hobby seriously as a way to one, like build a community, meet people, but also two, to, you know, build up a nice, valuable collection.
I love it. And before we hopped on here, you guys were talking about this. I don't know if Cage, if you left us, if you're getting another Coke here, but I want to talk a little bit about CryptoPunks. And Cage had a great comment. We were talking about a CryptoPunk, and Cage said, CryptoPunks without utility are going to be worthless in a year. Is that right, Cage? Did I quote that correctly?
Not exactly. I said I won't look further. Get my phone. What I said was all NFTs that have no utility are going to be utility.
I messed with Cage's head. It wasn't your speaker, Cage. That's all me. I think it was on my end. But you're a man of pride, and you're making faces because you hate when I come at your speakers. I think it was on Shai's side. I think it was on SG. You're allowed.
People blame
yes.
me all the time. People just blame me for everything. I'll take the responsibility, the blame. Fine.
But Max, you got into CryptoPunks and traditional card investors. You know, you see it's either sports cards or crypto NFTs. Have you dabbled in both? What made you want to get into both?
Yeah, so I started with the whole NFT thing probably in December or January. Like, that's when I first heard about it. And that was through both Beeple, a Beeple sale that happened in Top Shot. And I still will never own a Top Shot moment. I don't like it. I don't like collecting Top Shot moments. There's something about it I just can't wrap my head around. And 4 months ago, I hated the idea of NFTs. I didn't get it. I can just take a screenshot of it. I didn't understand it. And in 4 months, my entire perspective changed. Once I realized like the power in digital ownership and the blockchain. So yeah, it's been a journey over the last 4 months wrapping my head around the whole thing, but CryptoPunks were not the very first NFT, but it was the very first NFT that really caught on. So yeah, I'm a CryptoPunk. I'm a CryptoPunk lover, I guess.
So now you can hear me, right? He has one. It's a CryptoPunk. That's the only NFT he owns. So even though he understands 4 months and they get one, and it's the right one to own. So here was what I was saying. It was NFTs without utility will be worthless. Like Andrew likes to talk about price discovery, right? Everyone talks like, we're in a price discovery phase. It should come as no surprise to anyone. And we're not going to talk about NFTs this whole time, guys. We're sports, cards, collectible, you name it, the whole deal. We try to branch it all out. But it should come as no surprise that over the last 4 months or so, not only have the price of Top Shots and other NFTs gone in the tank, but so have the price of cards, some cards. And while you can make an argument that no cards have utility per se, the cards that have been sort of safer, that have not been so subjected to the fall off, are those serial numbered, the low pop, high sought after cards, right? Your exquisite autos and the like, right? So I would say that a common Top Shot moment is the same thing as a common Prism base, optic base, hoops base, whatever else it might be, right? There's nothing much to it there. And yet for a while, when everybody jumps into it. They jump into the lowest thing they can get, the lowest price thing they can get, right? Whether it's, whoever's base, whoever's rookie, you name it. Same kind of scenario. What I don't think I'm saying anything that's funny. What are you laughing at?
Shai and I we're having a little bit of a dance. I'm muting his mic. He's unmuting it.
Am I supposed to be muted? I don't know.
It captures background noise when you're on your computer mic.
I'm on a roll, so I'm going to keep going, even though people are laughing when I'm not talking funny stuff. There'll be enough funny stuff for you to laugh at. Anyway,
the technical difficulties are a lot for a producer to handle. They hurt me to my style. I want to provide a high quality product for the audience. I don't want to spend the next 6 hours DMing with them. Why have your microphone? Why does the microphone suck on your guys' episodes? I don't want to get that message.
Go with what we normally go with. It's just Cage's fault. He's old. He's got an iPhone 4. And that's normally that shuts everyone up. So that's the deal. But hey, so here's my fun, right? So my honesty, right? I think there are exceptions. There's exceptions, just like his CryptoPunk is an exception, right? I mean, that's my take, right? Even though I don't know what the utility is in that. People can try to force utility on these things, right? It's part of an art show. It's an art installation. It's in the bus stops in New York. I don't know if anybody saw these things. They're kind of all over the place. But they were first, right? They're legit. They're like the OGs of it, right? So on Top Shot, you can make an argument to me maybe that those cosmics, the first ones, the first real rare ones, but there's only 50 of each times 30 is only 1,500, or the rare golds or hollows or whatever it are from Series 1, those could potentially have some long-term value. And what I was telling Max about it is, draw a comparison to like anything that's first. That's culturally relevant, right? People are collecting, the first iPhone now. People are collecting the first Apple computer and paying a whole bunch of money for it, right? Because it was first. So CryptoPunks, they could almost be viewed as kind of like the poster child, so to speak, for the NFT revolution. That said, it doesn't mean NFTs are garbage. People just have to figure out a way to put value in them, right? So we've seen the VFriend revolution, right? If the only value to that is going to the VCon, whenever that happens, whatever it is, those are going to be money losers. I'll just call a spade a spade. Like I'll be an honest Harry or whatever the heck it is. What would it be? What's an H animal? Honest honey badger. That's me. I'm an honest honey badger, and my honesty is there's no friggin' way it's worth what people are paying for it if that's the only utility. But if people are smart enough, and Gary is able to layer in something else, a monthly Zoom call, access to a specific Discord only for people who have this stuff, some utility, some value to it, right? A shirt drop, like VFriends, merch that can only be given to people who own one of these things. Once you start layering that into it, and it's an actual access tool with real utility, then you have something. To have it, just to have it, different story. People will buy them. People will not hold them. And that's the difference. That's the difference between flipping. It's the difference between investing, collecting, and all that other fun stuff. So it's the same with cards.
Right. Let me just say my friend Shay over here is completely lost right now. He has no idea what's going on. He has no idea what a VFriend is, no idea what an honest honey badger is. He is here for the cards and for the cards only. But let me just say to the KJ, actually make a great point. I love cards, clearly. But cards, there's no utility to cards as would be like a CryptoPunk or an NFT without utility. Like it's social. It's currency. It's social currency. That's really what it is. It's collectability and social currency.
100%. 100%. And social currency is not something to be sneezed at, though, right? How much would somebody pay for a blue check next to their name?
Or a Rolex compared to G-Shock. It's just.
And over the last couple of years, that flash, like I can go online. I tell Andrew all the time, I can go and I can flash this, or I can put up my Jordan. I can put up my cards. I can put up my stuff. So we do it all the time. It's like, hey, look at the Dallas show. Look, Josh Cardboard Chronicles. First of all, he's like 6'11", and no one knew.
Let the man live. Let the man live.
I love him, but he's walking around with the LeBron. He's walking around with like $1 million car. He's just walking around with it.
Well, wait. Before people, like, I'm surprised card porn made that into a whole thing. It comes off like, what you just said. Oh, yep. He's just literally has it plastered in his forehead, Josh Carver Chronicles, taped around, and just walking around. No, it's not like that. I mean, I know him.
It's so taped to his midsection like a Euro trip.
Pack.
I bumped into him and I was like, oh, you want to see some of my stuff? I was like, oh, let's maybe we could trade. I was like, wow, like we all know he has monsters. So then surprisingly, the third card, I'm like, oh shit, you know what I mean? This is the RPA. This is it. This is like what the news is talking about. Finally get to hold it in my hand. And then that video came up and he told me, I like you more in the lives than your podcast. Your lives are more like raw and just crazy. And then I was like, you know what? I'll go on live right now. I was going to take a photo. I was like, all right, let's play around. Literally, that was my thought process. That's why if you see it, it was like so spur of the moment. and then that happened, and everybody thinks it's just like whatever. But no, he's taking care of it. It wasn't for sale. It wasn't for trade. A lot of people told me, "Did I buy it?" I was like, "No, I'm not buying like $1 million card. Chill out." You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Listen, if you have it, why not walk around with it? I mean, that's the deal. The first time,
enjoy.
I mean, it wasn't the first time I met Gary Vee, but the first time I saw him at a card show and no one knew who the hell he was at the card show, I was like the only person that came up to him. I had a 52 mantle in my pocket. You know, like, here you go. Here you go. Show your kid. You know, here you go. You know, people were taking pictures with it. Why the hell not? You know, why not?
I mean, we love
years
to
ago,
see cards. I mean, we love to see cards. So, I mean, why is it scary? And, like, you should be happy. Thank you. You know what I mean? Like, this is what the hottest card in the market, the Mount Everest of LeBron. Like, if you're trying to climb that ladder, that's the highest peak, basically.
So Max is right. It's social currency, right? This is, you're making friends with it. You're making, here's the content added. You know, I mean, think of all the content. Just think of how many people saw just you holding up the card. Should I do it? Should I? You know, I mean, you know, it is. It's social currency, 100%.
Is that a
Shay,
utility? Yeah.
Kind of. Shay, let's say you're appointed hobby commissioner, okay? And you got to give, you know, a 60, 90-second State of the Union. What the F has happened in the hobby in 2021? And you're going up on stage at National. You know, you got all these fans out there, mostly men in their middle-aged. But some ladies, maybe Lisa Ann is in there. I know you have a relationship with her. Have you never seen that picture? Have you never seen that picture? That picture needs to be plastered all over the internet. It's one of my favorites.
I don't even know how you even got that photo.
Instagram groups are a dangerous place to live in, man. But you're hobby commissioner. You're giving a speech, State of the Union on the hobby at National. What have you seen this year?
Dang, you put me on the spot. I'm already sweating, nervous, like when I was opening those boxes from PSA live. That says, like, what the hell am I doing? Like, it was 90 degrees that day. But I mean, Ken Golden. I mean, that video, like Ken did in the first 15 to 20 minutes, I think, kind of like, you know, was you know, he hit it on the dot. You know, 2021 is gonna be the year of, like, not corrections, but when most people in the hobby get really smart. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we're going to revisit the old days of the craziness that's going on. Of course, it's going to be there. But the people that's been in it for over a year or two, I think from all these podcasts and all these people, they can start weeding out, you know, the bad and the good advice and start making their own decisions. So there's the hobby's stronger than ever. When you go to the card shows, it gives you a sense of confidence. Like, this stuff is still desirable. Grown men are still crazy about these cards. You know what I mean? So, like, bottom line is you have nothing to worry about. Just make sure you very, very do your research and then buy specific particular cards. I'm a big fan of low pop rare cards. And that's how I built my collection, to be honest, even, you know, for the last 10 years. You know, and it may not be the most sexy thing right now, you know what I mean, the hot trend card, but over the long run, you can do well. So that was probably a bad State of the Union.
That's a good answer. I'm going to go to you, Max, next. But just to give context about that picture, the photo I was talking to you guys about, the photo was from a night where I believe, this is just for me, this is hearsay, this might be completely wrong. Shay was in Vegas. He was at Aria. He was at the high roller blackjack table, and he was reeling. Win after win after win, and she saw his Rolex and she came up to him and she was supporting him. So that's how I think the photo got taken. Max, same question. What are you seeing? What are you thinking of State of the Union of the hobby the last 6 months?
I'm not good on the spot, like public speaking as a commissioner of the hobby like this. But if I had to say, I just think this is not the first time in the last year that we've seen prices, quote unquote, crash, even though that's far from what the reality of it is. And I think there's a very strong likelihood that in 12 months or 18 months from now, we're going to be looking back at this very moment in time and saying how silly we were to think that this, you know, things were crashing or anything close to that.
Shay, anything you want to add? I know I put you on mute. I apologize.
As Ken said it yesterday, there's been about 10, 15 crashes over the last, I don't know, 20 years or whatever. So it's gonna go through cycles. The new people are just experiencing this for the first time. But, you know, the people that have thick skin, they're gonna get through and they're gonna do just fine.
Yeah, and let me just add in one thing. Some people are saying this is a mini crash. Many cards are still 5-10 times what they were a year ago or even 6 months ago. It's just silliness to say that it's a crash.
Nobody has thicker skin than my good-looking co-host over there, Mr. Cage. Same question. Yep, you're in the arena. Give people some peace of mind. Give us your take.
So over the last couple of weeks, Andrew has been telling me positivity. Positivity is the buzzword. Let's throw some positivity out there. A lot of cynics, a lot of stuff in there. We hammered it home in our episode yesterday as well. You know, it's a lot easier to tear things down than to build them up. And for whatever reason, we got a lot of people tearing things down in the hobby. But ultimately, positivity for me comes second in the podcast world and in my role here to honesty. And I will not just mirror what's being said here and say that everything's going great and everything's going to be fine, because it's not for certain segments. So let me explain that better. The hobby as a whole will be great, right? The hobby as a whole will survive. It will thrive. And part of what Max has said about the overall hobby, 12 months from now, 18 months from now, there will be a time where we look back at this particular moment in time, a snapshot of it, and say, I can't believe we were all going so nuts. I can't believe everybody was going so crazy. And it's also fair to say, hey, many things are 5 to 10x of where they were, right? But here's where the rubber hits the road for me. About 30 or 40% of the people in the hobby don't care about what was just said because they entered the hobby in the last 6 months to a year. Okay, so they did not own these cards to watch them go 10x or 5x over time. They are not the people who were in Luca at $15 for his Prism and are now sitting there saying, okay, I paid $65 for a PSA 10. I don't care if it drops to 500 from the 900 it's at now. I don't care that it went from 2,000 down to 1,000, right? Because it's still up so much. No, these are people who bought it at 1,400. They're people who bought it at 1,500, right? And there's a lot of those people. And layer on top of that, there's a whole segment of people in our hobby who got in this because they were entrepreneurs. They were brought in by entrepreneurs. They were brought in by entrepreneurial influencers, right? People who were garage sale flippers and sneaker flippers and the like. And they had the ability over the last year or two to act in the hobby in a way to build their stack, right? They were able to use PSA on low-end cards. They were able to use SGC, BGS, wherever they were using. A lot of people use PGS as well. You know, be the first one to grade a card when you rip it. You know, get that retail product. Be the first one to send it in and not have to pay through the nose to get it and flip it and base cards. You name it. Find a bargain on eBay or in a card store for $10 or less. Do that grading magic. Get it back in a couple of months, and boom, you 10x your money. Okay, so that's a different segment than the 30 or 40% of people who have come in and just bought at highs. So here's the difference between all the other Ken Golden 15 crashes, right? Max, you've been in this since 2008, right? I've been in this for quite some time, right? Unfortunately for me, my bar mitzvah money went to my younger brother, who's 2 years younger than me. So I didn't get to put it into cards. Shit happens. You know, life shits on me every chance it gets. But here's the deal, right? These other crashes, they didn't have all of this added frustration, all of this added pent-up craziness. Now, that pent-up stuff, those additional people, participants in the market, they were huge for making us go parabolic, right? That's a huge part of the reason why instead of just going like this, we went like this. And you see it in crypto, and you see it in Doge, and you see it in AMC stock, and you see it in all. It's euphoria. It's those cycles of market conditions, and you name it. But this one here, it just smacks a little different to me than some of the ones that I've seen, and I've been collecting since the 80s, right? So do I think it's a correction? Sort of. Do I think it's a crash? No. Do I think we're going to lose a lot of market participants, and that's going to make this one sting a little bit more than just a normal sort of correction? Yes. Because a lot of the participants in this market that are kind of propping up the high end of it, they're only come in the last year, and they're getting hurt right now.
I think we play a little bit into victim mentality in the sense that maybe it's the best thing that ever happened to these new participants. Maybe it's a lesson that they learned from day one, and now they could use that so that they could build their collection long term. Maybe they learned the lesson that high pop cards are very volatile, and that if you really want something long term, low pop cards are the way to go. Maybe it's an awesome lesson. Can't we go that route and at least discuss that?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Cage,
mean,
you just mentioned that. Go ahead. I just want to touch on like what you said. You said there was a lot of like losses in that base market with that Luca, for example. But just to give those guys confidence, like those guys that are getting hurt, there are bigger high end guys that are taking losses, and I know that for a fact. Like for example, there are dudes that bought cards for 20K. You know what I mean? That's not low. That's not low end. And they were trying to like, for example, I know a card. I'm not gonna name everything specifically, obviously, but there was cards that I know that were 20 grand at the last Dallas show, right? And it was stickered at 40. Nobody bought it, right? And then the same guy dealer, so it was like I had to get rid of it, so he auctioned it off on eBay, ended at 11. You know what I mean? So there are guys that's just one example, and there's many more I know. So like the losses are not only in the low end, there's definitely in the high end also. So just to give confidence to those guys that look, just because we're small, we're taking all the beating, and you guys are doing well, all the big guys. No, there's some sort of balance, 100%. So
everyone's losing.
I mean, Putnam, you wanted to say
Yeah,
something.
Max, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to build on something that Andrew said, which was like the more I've made so many mistakes over the last 3 years, and I'm so much better off now because of it. So I think everyone kind of has to go through the cycle once at some point to learn those initial lessons and those initial market dynamics. And then I think they just benefit so much more long-term for having gone through that one time. I've gone through that you had the initial COVID dip last year, then you had the dip in August, and now you're having this dip. I just don't see what's different now than those previous 2 times.
Cage, please, after you just put back the rest of that soda, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Big compliment to Max for keeping it together while I was doing that. This is a test. It's a test of, of people's mettle. You're going to be good at this podcast thing because, it's tough to watch somebody slam a 2-liter bottle. And, you blinders on, the Lasix, horse number 8, and you're right to the finish. So everything everybody's saying is 100% right. It definitely is. I think there are some additional factors right now that are a little different than, the COVID stuff, you name it. There's different places where people put their money now. And what I've noticed also different now than before, we have a very fickle class of people investing in this stuff. Very fickle money, right? And now there are so many different alternatives, so many different options. I mean, you go on Twitter, it's like fruit flies with a lot of money. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm gonna go put my money in this now. I'm gonna get on this NFT. I'm gonna be on VFriends. How do I get in a MetaMask? I'm gonna ETH. And these were guys who were buying cards last month, and maybe they'll come back to cards. Who the hell knows? But,
almost like a cat chasing its tail type of thing. That kind of behavior, if you want to visualize.
It's a good one too. Yeah, but so that's what you get when the hobby expands, right? And we can all admit this is an expanded hobby investment segment, alternate asset class. I mean, there's so much great stuff coming in. And I think, what will allow it to thrive is, as we realize there's different money coming in, different assets coming in, different classes, instead of just keeping it the same, have some shows, have some eBay, you name it. What we've seen that gives me confidence in the longevity of it is people are doing things to react to that new type of money that's coming in. And I'm talking about things like fractional shares, right? Like Collectible and Rally. I'm talking about different platforms than eBay to sell on. You're talking about like Whatnot, which is now like a social thing. You're talking about, StarStock, who sponsors us, and we do an episode for them, once a week. We're talking about different grading companies, right? Because, I think a new grading company popped up yesterday. I think another one will pop up today. We're sponsored by HGA. These are all things I think that will allow money to remain in the hobby because it's giving people, the smarter consumers who are now, they have a lot of options of where to put their money. They're making this hobby, they're making this sector, let's call it, more attractive. And I think that's what really gives me confidence in the long term. So if I'm the hobby commissioner, Andrew, just to Seinfeld episode this and put it back and allow you to jump to the next question, that's what I would be promoting. I'd be promoting all of these ancillary things. We always talk about how during the gold rush, right? It wasn't the guys who were panning for the gold who made the money. It was the guys who were selling the pickaxes, right? The guys who were selling the panhandles, right? They're selling the whole stuff. So I'd be promoting us you guys, the podcasters, the people who are putting out content. I'd be putting out, and incentivizing, whether it's like tax breaks, like states do it for platforms that are going to be in the hobby. Panini and Topps should be partnering with these other, platforms to sell your cards and trade your cards and to do it mixed with social. I saw Collectible last night had a trivia game that they were playing. It was like a live trivia on YouTube. I mean, like, I'd be backing stuff like that because that's the stuff that's going to take the hobby into the next year, the next decade.
Shay, go ahead. I think you have something to say.
Yeah. So, one thing, okay, if you take away from this, one of the most important things I think for the hobby to grow is the social media, the influencers and the content creators. I think it's so important because, for example, some people were saying, oh my God, there's so much money on the table. Trading, is it like a show off and yada, yada. Like, oh my God, everybody just loves doing that. That's not a bad thing. You can call whatever you want. This shows exposure. There's new people. Like right now, I posted a video of like the money changing hands. I was just joking around, I posted my personal page, and guess what? A lot of people were like, "What the hell? There's a whole world out there for this." That's the response I got. And I swear to you, an old high school friend of mine is like, I have a garage full of cards in Staten Island. Literally, a random kid that I went to aviation high school with.
What's the address?
I don't know yet, but we can go and take a look. It's a lot of baseball. I don't know that stuff.
Yeah, I'll go look later. I'll go.
Yeah,
it's gonna be dark. It's gonna be dark.
Yeah,
I gotta have a ski mask.
But like that type of social media, like we in our circle, we may have feelings like views on it, but like from the outside people, I think when they see the glitz and the glam, they're gonna be maybe participants. We need more participants in the hobby, period. Your card is only worth what somebody else willing to pay for it. If nobody in this hobby is not willing to pay you that X amount for your card, you want more new people coming in, maybe they'll pay for it. You know what I mean? And who doesn't want their card prices to go up, obviously, towards the end of the day? So we just need more participants, more social media. This whole Ken Golden thing with the reality show, I think it's going to be very interesting. So, like there's a lot more excitement, I think, in the hobby. It's just growing. So that's my 2 cents.
The crypto community does a really good job promoting themselves, right? Like they do those whole like laser eye photos, and they're always showing how much of a community, whether you agree with the tactic, the point is they're trying to recruit new people. They're trying to recruit Tom Brady. Like they're trying to recruit people to the hobby because, and this happens with business and it happens with the hobby. It's a great point, Shay and Cage. It's like everyone's trying to come in and take from the pie as opposed to make that pie bigger so that we could all eat. It's a really great point. If it's okay, I mean, we could go round. I'd love to talk about grading companies. Yeah, and like, I think if there's something to notice, and I'd love Max your take, and I'd love your take on this, Shay, is, I mean, last year was basically PSA and BGS, especially in the beginning of the year. SGC was saying some things about how they want to make moves, but here we are about 12 to 16 months later, and PSA shut down. We haven't heard a ton from BGS. SGC is ramping up, but we have hybrid grading, we have Revolution grading, we have all these other companies. And the show is sponsored by Hybrid Grading. And the reason we chose to partner with them is we felt like they were the David going against the Goliath. Not, hey, everyone should send their cards to HGA. It's, hey, this is another option, right? Options are good. Their competition is always good. It's healthy. I'm curious, if I want to go to Max, then I'll go to you, Shay. What are you making of the grading companies? How are you utilizing the grading companies? Are you grading cards right now at all? Give us your take on grading, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I mean, my personal take on grading is a lot different than other people. I personally don't really do a lot of grading at all. I just find it's not how I enjoy the hobby. I find it to be kind of a headache, if I'm being quite honest. It's just, I can make money just flipping singles as I would if I was just, doing mass grading submissions. So I'm not a huge grader myself, but
and singles are raw cards, right?
Well, even just graded singles.
Cool.
Yeah, slabs, as some people would like to refer them to. I have a war against the term slabs, but yeah. So in terms of grading, though, I mean, I really just stick to PSA and BGS, and I personally think someone needs to buy BGS. Just they're doing a really crap job all around right now, so that would be helpful to have like someone, maybe not like Nat Turner, but even someone a tier below Nat Turner, somehow pull that off. But yeah, I mostly just stick to PSA and BGS. SGC, we have issues with SGC, me and Shay. So That's where I'm at on grading at the moment.
This is gonna be good. He's off mute.
Tell
us about the issues.
I mean, a few things. Oh well, the issues we did a check out. What Max? What episode was that? With the whole SGC review that we did.
I want to say it was. There's only been 6 episodes. I can't even remember the episodes now. It's either episode 4 or 5.
It's there basically. God, it's Sports Car Investor Geoff. He did.
By the way, so many episodes. Wait till you get to 300. You're gonna ask me the question.
I know.
What episode was it? Come on.
I know.
It's episode 4. It's episode 4, guys, on May 13th. If you guys want to go listen to it.
Look at that. We appreciate that a lot.
Hobby update.
Yeah. So whatever, we did a little episode about the SGC grading, their thought process and all that. There was a lot of funny takeaways from that video. Max, mentioned some funny stuff. My biggest only important issue is they're showing their slabbing machine that I can buy on the internet. That why would you expose that? Don't tell me it's the Blaster 51,000, whatever that name is. Putnam, I can't remember.
The Branson 2000. That was the name of the machine.
If you type in Branson 2000 on Google now, you can buy SGC's slabbing machine, and then you can reverse that. So then you can open the case back, and it's whatever. So we did a review on that, but the grading game completely changed. I'm a PSA guy, just straightforward. Now with PSA being shut down, that whole raw to grade to flip to climb the ladder, it's out the window. Straight up. You know what I mean? So the new guys coming in, it's going to be, honestly, I'm sorry, it's going to be a lot harder. You know what I mean? It's going to be more costly because once things are graded, it's just more expensive in general. But junk slabs, they're still cheap, obviously. So that game is completely changed. I'm so turned off with grading. I haven't graded. I still have maybe 400 cards that I'm waiting since last August or September or whatever. As soon as I get them, I can't remember what's in it, and then we'll go from there. But I'm turned off with grading. I'm not grading. Whenever it comes back, I'm just not interested. I'm just going to stick with just buying graded slabs. The headache is just not worth it for me.
Cage, I'm going to tee you up here. Cage, the one recurring theme Cage has is coloring up for the little guy. And you just mentioned climbing that ladder.
Tee me up. You're going to tee me up. Let's do it.
Why do you have are you chipping in your living room? It's actually kind of fun.
That's it.
So I'll tee you up. You talk about the strength of the hobby isn't necessarily these record-breaking deals. It's the little guy coming in and being able to color up, or as Shay said, climb that ladder. Cage, your take. If I could just get you right back on topic.
All right, it's impossible. You can't, man. I'm 2 liters in, 45 minutes in. Forget about it. So a couple things. Number one, grading. So wait till I get the next one and chug that. So
wait till you see a video of an apple that sits inside of a soda for a day, and that's what's happening inside of you. But no big deal.
Show me the video.
I will.
I don't know what apples look like. I don't know what apples look like because I don't eat apples. That's too healthy for me. So here you go. Ready? Couple things. One, on grading. I like that there's a lot of options. And I like there's a lot of options because of what ShaiwayVlogs has said, right? The grading game has changed. So somebody coming into grading now, some of these newer companies coming in now, let's make it a full Seinfeld episode. They have to add something to it. They have to add utility the same way an NFT would add. They'd have to be something different. They'd have to add not just, universal acceptance. You have to add, maybe some price increase. How about some aesthetics, right? People like the SGC, the way that looks with like the black border around it. Some people like that for certain cards. I fell in love with HGA when I saw somebody grade a checkerboard that had a checkerboard slab on the top of it. I don't know if you guys have seen one of those yet. Check it out. There's Lamar Jackson, I think, on eBay right now if you listen to this. Like that, to be able to do that and kind of like match your card with the thing. I saw a picture yesterday of a Tom Brady downtown that has like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like a pirate ship behind it. And they did a slab with like a pirate ship and like Buccaneers in the slab. That's different, right? Like that's adding some utility to the grading now, but it's a very different type and style of grading than what it was even a year ago, right? Where it was a color up type of thing. So my commentary on grading, you're not going to hear me, crap on grading too much, right? I'm not going to talk about how PSA did this. I'm not going to talk about how, this BGS thing did. I will talk about how I think PSA got a little harder. You've heard me talk about that, and that's definitely something to chat about. But as far as like comparison, I really do think there's room at the table for everybody and maybe even more. I happen to like what HGA brought to the table because they were doing something different. Like they were looking for a different niche in the space that I thought was cool. that I would love to, there are some cards that I have for my PC, right? They're not the most expensive cards. I happen to be a checkerboard fan. I got a Jonathan Taylor checkerboard rookie from Indianapolis, on Optic, and I'm gonna do a whole bunch of HGA slabs with just checkerboards. Like I can't get that anywhere else, and I'm gonna keep those. Those are my cool stuff. My son's name is Ian. We collect guys Ian Happ, Ian Anderson. Like we do Ian collection. I'm not gonna flip those. I'm not gonna get more money for those. So if it's in a good looking slab, why the hell not? So that's the one little difference as far as grading and adding the utility. Bring it back to our NFT stuff. That you can get that other companies are now starting to bring to the fore that that they didn't have before. As far as coloring up, yeah, man. One of the scary things, and I'd ask Shayway this, because Max, I mean, you're obviously very knowledgeable, but if you're not a grader, this is not something, you can opine, but it's fine. You mentioned something that I think you're not the only one who's going to say, hey, I got cards in there since August. I mean, I have a Q2 special in PSA, Q2 2020, that's still in grading. I mean, we're almost done with Q2 2021, right? So and it's 28 cards, 28 modern Pokemon cards. Come on, let's go, guys. I sent these in June. Guess what? In a couple of days, it's June again. Right? And we're not even in assembly. What? So anyway, you said you forgot what you sent in. Okay. And you're like, I'm going to get them back, and I'm done with grading. How many people you think are sitting out there with exactly that thought? Right? And we've now seen kind of a crush to the modern, a crush to the cards that people are grading, right? Those Prism cards, the base cards, you name it. How many more thousands of those are about to get dumped back into this hobby? What do you think that does?
So low key, thank you for bringing that up. Low key, that's actually a kind of a scary thing, because I think, to be honest, a lot of people are in my situation. Even what you said, as soon as this probably is because I'm raw, right? We're just gonna keep it real. As soon as they get it back, boom, auction everything off. Let me just get even $1, $5 back.
Whatever you get, right?
Chances are you got Tyrone Bone and Prism base cards that are gonna be worth nothing. And you know what's the crazy part? I sold many Prism these base cards for $5. Actually, PWCC $9.99, and some of them didn't even get bids, and it was on auction. So imagine, it's you know what I mean?
It's a race to the bottom. It happened with Top Shot. Remember when the people opened the packs, and then they don't even think about holding them. They're they flood the market as soon as the pack, and just a race to the bottom.
That's literally, I think it's going to continue. I think this year is going to be the year of the collapse, really nailing the coffin, because I think as soon as people are getting their stuff back, more than likely 70%, whatever, people hold on to a few cards, whatever, but most of them, they just kind of dump, just let's sell it. Let me consolidate, get anything at this point and then move on. So I think that's what's going to happen this year.
I have a great topic if we could keep going. It's on grading, but it's just slightly. So heroes for sale.
Tyler Hero? Yes, when you get those back, dump them and get whatever you can for them.
By the way, for people listening, I didn't say Tyler Hero's game fell off because he got a girlfriend. I said Tyler Hero's game fell off because he had a good bubble and a lot of endorsements, an Instagram girlfriend. A lot of people were pulling at him. So that's distracted him from working on his game. Just to clarify.
Bubble? What are you talking about?
So heroes for sale. He asked a great question, and I'm going to go to Max for the first one of this. He said, are BGS 9.5s valued where they should be, or are they not valued correctly? For example, Jason Tatum BGS 9, just the base rookie card, is $170, where the PSA 10 is $430. Should that gap be less?
I probably would have said that, yes, it should be less a month ago, but now I'm kind of at a place where I'm just whatever the market says it is, that's what it is, because the branding of these grading companies is really starting to show and come through to the light, and BGS is really failing here with that, with communication, with branding. PSA is doing an excellent job of that recently, in my opinion. But yeah, a month ago I would have said yes, it should be a smaller gap, and now I'm just whatever it is, that's what it should be, or that's what the market is.
There is no should in the market. The market is what the market is, what the market is, right? It's funny how you said PSA is doing a great job, and all a great job is, this is how low the bar is like two comments on Instagram and one tweet by Nat Turner. That's a great job in
That's
the art
That's more than
communication. That's laughable, right?
The bar is very low. Yeah.
Shay, you're a BGS 9 guy. Shay loves the BGS 9. Did I lose him? He's like, fuck this, I'm out.
I hope I don't get this.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's so much hate, negativity towards BGS. It kind of breaks my heart, to be honest. BGS was the king, in the early grading game. If you think about it, look back, some of the biggest cards in the world are all in BGS holders. That's for a reason. If you look at Bob Imtrack's amazing collection, every card he has is in BGS slab. Nat Turner's obviously because it's PSA, whatever. But if you look at that, so that shows that. And I even sold no collectors that only collect certain cards in BGS 9.5 slabs. The market is what the market is. Like Max said it. Things will eventually, correct itself. But at this point, what PSA has a lot of good things going for it. Like what that I'm a fan of is like all that security feature. You know what I mean? I'm a huge fan of the security features at PSA. Their buyback guarantee or however that works. You know what I mean? That gives me confidence. Remember, like this markets work on confidence. Stock markets work on confidence, and this hobby is similar. It's going to work on confidence. So the more confidence there is in the market, it's going to be a healthier market. And PSA gives me that confidence. So that's just where that stands.
Cage, you were never a BGS guy.
It's not true, actually. What he's saying is 100% right. BGS was the grading company. PSA is only the grading company for the last couple of years. BGS was the one. I mean, when I was opening packs in 2009, when it was Bryce Harper, Steven Strasburg, he was opening up Bowman baseball cards to get those guys because that was a huge rookie class. When I graded cards, I sent them to BGS. But I think I still have somewhere a BGS 9.5 Harper that I graded that I was mad about because I had 2 9.5s and 2 10s. And I was like, this is a 10. It's like a perfect card. I put it on pack. Like I remember complaining about it even more than 10 years ago. So he's right. The PSA love, it's very possible it's a cyclical thing because BGS was the thing for quite some time. And it might go back to that, Shayway. It may go back. I mean, I will tell you, we know because we have these groups, we know of people who are sending us their attempts at crossing over. And their recent attempts at crossing over are bad. Right, Andrew?
0 for 9.
Specifics? I mean, you're talking about we've seen 9.5s with like 2 9.5s and 2 10s come back 8s.
Yep.
Double 9.5, double 10 come back as 8s.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Some guy just went 0 for 9, and he set the min grade. Like, let's say he had, he set the min grade 1 grade low. So he said if he sent a 9, he would have went for a PSA 8, and they just returned it no min grade.
So
I think PSA is like slowly getting over cracking other people's slabs. All this crossover. I don't want to freaking crack BGS things. It's gonna get to that point. Like, yo, just send us raw cards. Like, we're not cracking. If you're gonna give us, it's just a waste of money. All the group subbers said like crossovers without cracking. Just from a different grading company to PSA, it's just don't even bother. They literally just tell you that. Like the group subbers, like it's chances are you're gonna waste your money. Like
I heard a funny quote is. Don't take your Whopper to McDonald's for them to fix it is what a funny quote was. But what do you guys think is going to happen to these group subbers? 2020 was the year of the group subber millionaires.
You know what? They had their time in the hobby. They were laughing to the bank. These group subbers, man, they killed it. I'm jealous as hell. That's the truth. All right, they were a factory. All they did was got a card and they sent it off. They're the middleman. They had zero risk if you think about it. They don't care if you got a PSA 1 or a PSA 10. They still getting paid. And we out here, we got to suffer like, damn, man. You know what I mean? So they've made enough money. Don't feel bad for them, all right? I'm done with this. Like, it's enough. They made enough money. They're chilling. They made enough money to last them 5-10 years. Come on. We know that. Oh, shit. I just realized you were a group subber, too. Fuck. My bad. You guys were doing a group subbing thing, right? But you know what I mean, man. You know what I mean.
It was my least favorite part of the business. By the way, Luca Nation, we expect your grades to be back shortly.
Are you guys still doing group subbing or What's going
It
on
took
with you guys?
it took years of my life. I don't want to hold people's money. I don't want to be responsible for people's cards. It just
Yeah.
adds a ton of stress to me. But Cage did an amazing job. I actually did nothing. The funny thing.
Well, it's a lot of stress, but you getting paid. You know what I mean? Like, what do you expect?
Listen,
Like, you know,
you are right though. I mean, we didn't do it anywhere near the volume of what people were doing. We were just doing it with, our listeners who wanted to get some stuff in. People who, people who wanted to get some cards. And we didn't do it anywhere near the volume of what people were doing. I mean, I'm sure it would have grown, but yeah, I mean, you are right. I mean, people made an entire cottage industry off of it, and then boom. And some people are there, they've moved on to different companies and whatnot, but no one's grading as much as they graded previously. No one's grading anywhere near as much as what they graded. And I'll tell you, listen, so here's a story just from my own. I won't name the guy, but it's a local guy to me who got into cards a year ago, right? And, believe it or not, I actually found them because I was selling Pete Alonso cards on eBay. And he wanted to buy 10 of them, and then we messaged. It turns out he was not that far away from me, and I went and I sold him some in person.
One night, Cage went on a bender, and he was just like so in love with Pete Alonso that he bought every single Pete Alonso Topps PSA 10 on eBay.
Yeah,
every single one.
I took the floor from $28 to $62 overnight on eBay. I bought every single one.
Those are weird.
That's not market. That's not market manipulation.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. That's perfectly.
But
that's your buying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I held
that's
them.
totally fine. That's totally fine. For the listeners thinking crazy stuff, I'm gonna.
This was before the podcast. This was before the podcast.
This was
Yeah.
This was
This
two
was
years. 2 years. This was before the COVID season. This was 2 seasons ago. It was before.
This is in lieu of Cage driving to Atlantic City and playing blackjack. This is his.
And he wasn't the only one I did it with.
It's in that arena.
And here's the best part. We did it in an Instagram group, and I was like, I plan on doing this, guys. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm buying every single one of these because I believe in him. And I'm going to sell them when he starts hitting home runs like crazy. So I didn't sell them right away. You didn't put them back in there. I did the same thing with Tatis, by the way, at $56 a card. So I bought a lot of those. But yeah, I mean, that's just a fun thing to do. But point being, I met this guy, and, I'm selling him some cards. And he finds out about the podcast about a year later, and then the grading stuff. And he's like, I want to grade some cards. All right, I'll grade them with you. So he's sending us cards. We'll grade some cards for him. He's got basically none of them back. And now the ones that he is getting back, the grades are not what he expected. He graded a couple himself with like vouchers, and half of them came back min grade, even though he didn't put a min grade. The other half came back 8s, and he basically is like, I'm done. Like, I'm out of the hobby. I wish I could tell PSA to cancel all of my other orders. I don't even want the cards back. Whenever they come back, he's doing what you just said, which is I'll get back whatever I can get back on these things, and it is what it is. And half of me is saying, hey, the Andrew line ringing in my ear is, okay, maybe that's somebody who shouldn't have been collecting to begin with because they were in it to make a quick buck. And they were just jumping on the bandwagon a little too late. The other half of me is like, all right, that's somebody, though, who, thought he was playing by the rules, and the rules kind of changed on him a little, maybe, So I kind of do feel for him a little. Like, I see both sides, but that's not the only one of that guy out there, I mean, there's plenty of that guy out there. And I just worry what happens when we lose all of them. Not everybody's buying exquisite autos.
I have 3 quick hitter questions, but I want to turn it over to Shay, Max, Cage. Are there any topics that you think are relevant that you were discussing on the podcast that you found were helpful, and anything kind of top of mind for you guys? Don't all speak at once.
I mean, this is just kind of building on what we've been talking about, but it's just something that has been brewing in my mind. Is I think that we're just going to see over the next coming weeks and months a real distinction in terms of what cards matter and what cards don't matter, and in terms of types of cards, in terms of really just in terms of the types of cards that are out there, whether we're talking about Prism base or whether we're talking about silvers or whether we're talking about a little bit more high-end stuff or Topps paper, whatever it is. I think we're just going to see kind of a further, more clear distinction in terms of what cards do people truly value versus what cards do people truly only value because they think they can make a quick buck on it.
All right, fine. I'll keep rocking with the questions then, because I agree. When we've talked about flight to quality a little bit, Cage, if you unplug and plug your headphones back in, I think your phone is picking up the audio, but not your headphones. I know. I'm a stickler. I'm annoying. I'm annoying myself, frankly. Shay, favorite collection on the gram?
Favorite collection on the gram that well, there's few. The favorite collection. I'm a LeBron guy, so I love looking at Bob M track stuff and just like daydreaming, like damn, like how am I gonna do this? But I also enjoy like looking at like my favorite thing, to be honest, is looking at the young collectors and them hustling and bustling and climbing that and getting better and better cards. Like I adore that. I love watching the little guys win because I was always a little guy. I still feel like I'm a little guy, physically and in the hobby. You know, both ways. So the Hobbit thing, you know, got me. But I have a defender anyway.
How old are you, Shay?
I'm 34. I'm old. I act like I know 14. I know it's weird. I can't. I don't even.
I think it was your birthday recently, right? Like I saw a picture pretty.
Yeah. I had a birthday celebration, and it was good. I got a lot of video.
Stalker.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Stalking this guy. Birthday. What else do you know about him? This stalker. You looking at pictures of him?
Private dealings with
Dude,
Aria
what are you doing,
Hotel.
man? your gambling habits,
or
your birthday. What are you doing?
I gambled like a couple of times, you know, but whatever.
Max, same question. Who's your favorite collector on the gram? What's your favorite collection on the gram?
I mean, that's a really tough decision, but I mean, I just think you have to go with like Nat Turner. It's just the obvious answer, but the guy's got every card you could possibly want, so that's what I'm going to go with. It's kind of a cop-out answer just because, again, I'm an awful public speaker and I'm bad at thinking on my feet, but I'm just going to go with Nat Turner for now. If you haven't checked out Nat Turner's Flickr page, highly advise it.
I think you're underrating yourself as a public speaker. I've listened to your podcast. You do an amazing job. Give yourself a bit more credit, brother.
What about my favorite collection? I don't know if he's on
Gage.
Instagram. His name is Kendrick. He owns the Arizona Diamondbacks. Heavy vintage baseball collection. Take a look at it. They put him on display sometimes at the stadium there. But, you know, he's got a Wagner. He's got some of the, you know, the real vintage baseball legends in Pop One, like, you know, Yogi Berra's, his Bowman rookie, that there's only 110. He's got the 10. You know what I mean? He's got, like, cool stuff like that. It's, you know, every once in a while they put him on display. But he's got the pictures of him. You can just look him up. You know, you find articles about him on Google. So, listen, my role normally is to be the lovable idiot on the show, and you're the taskmaster. And you're the question asker. You know, you're the Cronkite
question master.
So let me ask the one question for these guys, if I'm allowed. Okay, I don't get to do this too often, so I'm switching hats. So you heard me mention the difference in grading, right? You heard me mention the difference in NFTs, and what will tie this episode together for me, guys, is there's been an increase in people putting out their coins, their NFTs, their tokens. And, you know, some people buy them, some people don't, right? Look at this guy. Some people buy those coins, right? And you got people coming into the hobby who are grading. And what I've said about both of them is the ones that will survive are the ones that add utility, right? The ones that add some utility to it. The ones that are going to, you know, their NFTs will actually provide something for the people who own them. You know, the grading companies are the ones that are actually going to do something different. They're going to have a different slab. They're going to have different aesthetics. There's some utility to the slab itself. And one of the other things that's grown out of this hobby is content, the content creators, the vendors that are out there, the way to buy things, you name it. There's a lot of podcasts, ourselves included, and you guys on here. So do me a favor, long question, which will allow for a long answer. What do you guys do different? What are you going to provide your audience? What utility is your podcast going to provide for folks? What do they get from you guys that they're not getting anywhere else? And it's going to make them want to tune in for your episodes over and over. I've met with you guys now for, you know, an hour or so, and I could probably give you a list of 3 or 4 things that I'd say on your behalf. I'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let Shay take this one. He makes a great pitch here. So yeah, Shay, you can take this one.
Damn. All right. Why the hell should you listen to our podcast?
I mean, you have to increase the energy. That was just terrible. That was sluggish.
Oh, red cup.
Why should you listen to our podcast? Here's why.
If he was all right, guys.
Yeah, okay, you know what? Mute yourself. I'll take it. That was horrible.
They say styles make fights, and I think that contrast and the compliment of Shay to Max it reminds me of Cage and I. So that's the way I would go. I think Max knows his stuff, Shay knows his stuff, but the way they deliver it is so unique that anybody in the card hobby could benefit. They're going to have a laugh. They're going to enjoy themselves. They're real as AF. So that's my take on it. I'll go on mute.
Yeah, so I mean, the way we differentiate ourselves from the other content out there is we're just trying to be as real as possible, with as little as filter as possible, and we're just trying to entertain the people and provide some humor.
Yeah, sometimes we're so real just to keep it real. I hurt myself in terms of the cards. Like I'll shit on my own card and I'm like fudge, like. But it just comes out at this point. Listen, I'm in the hobby to have fun. All right. The money's great. I get it. But luckily, like, you know, in my previously, like I did, like, you know, money's not everything. I've learned that earlier in my life, you know, like, you know, money doesn't equal happiness, all that. And the people that says otherwise, they never had a ton of money to know that that's not true. It's a whole other thing. So I'm here just to keep it real, raw, entertaining, a different light. And I want to say what's on everyone's mind, but nobody wants to say it. You know what I mean? That's the type of podcast that we're doing. Like whatever's in your mind, let's just get it out there. You know, nobody wants to talk about a lot of these weird, you know, funny, interesting topics, and we'll just get it out there. And we, you know, I will take hits on my own card. You know, so that's what makes it more real.
One of the things you said that I took to heart was content creators need to have a responsibility to disclose which cards they're buying and which cards they're not. And I took that to heart because here we are, we do a show every single day where we talk about cards, which cards we recommend buying. But Cage knows this. I've been way more articulate about like, yo, you know, this is not advice. This is a watch list similar to CNBC Fast Money. And these are some cards for you to look at. And here's the strategy behind why I think Russell Westbrook should be a buy on December 15th when his Topps Chrome card is $200 and Tyler Hero's Topps Prism PSA 10 is $200. I think Russell Westbrook's a buy when you compare their careers. But go and not only buy that card if you think it fits your strategy, start to find those strategies on your own. And ever since I watched your video and you talked about that, I've taken that to heart.
I mean, I think the market is this market is such an infancy. Like what you just said, watch list. People think the watch list is a buy list. You know what I mean? Because they're looking for direction. I know, but that's how people think. If you're just talking about it, hey, you should look into buy it. You know what I mean? Because they're always looking for direction. A lot of people, because like you said, they're new, they're entering, so they look up to the OGs. You know what I mean? So that's just you know. But over time, they will know a watch list is a watch list and a buy list is a buy list, and don't get it you know, together mixed up.
Which one of you is willing to take a shot at LeBron? Because that's what makes a successful podcast.
Oh,
I'll do. I mean, look, I have LeBron number 2 all time behind Jordan. I think he's the second greatest basketball player of all time. With that said, I don't think his like legacy is as set as some people think it is yet.
Ooh, all right. Now there
okay,
you
no,
go.
that's all I'm gonna say. Because every time I say this, people shit on me. I get all kinds of hate comments, and it's not good. So I'll just leave it there. But I always have to preface it first by saying that he's number 2 all time on my list. So there's some context there. Without saying that, people would unfollow me.
So start bench cut LeBron, Jordan, Kobe. Kobe's cut LeBron's bench.
I'm not trying to be poor here. I mean, I can't answer that question.
Shay?
I mean, I would have to go them. Like for me, LeBron and Jordan are tied. I'm a cop-out answer, and
Wow.
Kobe's. Even though I have a lot of Kobe cards, you know, he's third. But like what Putnam was saying, I mean, Max. I know I keep calling him by his IG handle. That's another thing. At these shows, guys, introduce yourself and not use your real name as your IG handle, please, because it's very hard to know who's Mark and who's Jacob. It's just I have no clue. Seriously. But that's another thing. But back to the LeBron, he has so much more upside. Jordan's already retired. You know what I mean? Now Jordan could be a risk. If he goes out on a murder spree, kills his wife, those cards are going to drop. You know, his legacy is cemented. That's it. So there's nothing but downside for Jordan. All right. For LeBron, yes, the same thing could happen. He could go on a murder spree, but he could win more titles. He's all-time scoring list, Kareem. You know it's going to be.
You heard it here first, folks. LeBron can go murder people, but there's upside because he could also win titles. So if he kills people, it's okay as long as he's winning. Love it.
I think except for that one clip, I don't think that we shit on LeBron. I really don't. I think we just call it how it is. And what I loved about Jordan is he was 9-time Defensive Player of the Year. He played the full game. LeBron, if you guys watch LeBron, he just chills. He's like a quarterback. He's like,
Listen, it's almost a generational thing. If my father was here,
that's his thing.
The screen here, my dad would be telling us how Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a better player than LeBron. Right? There'd be people who talk about how Dr. J was better. You know, it's just one of those things. The game changes, the generation changes, the style of play changes. Every generation seems to have their GOAT. But yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's ever arguing LeBron's not a GOAT. He's not a top player. He's not the GOAT. I will definitely say that. And you guys can all hate.
He's a baby GOAT. He's a baby GOAT.
He's one of the greatest to ever do it. Definitely.
Max, your favorite content creator on the gram?
Wait, before I answer that question, I just want to say very quickly, no player or even character is dead or alive, active or retired, is safe. I bought some Space Jam cards. I bought a Pepe Le Pew Space Jam card. He literally got canceled on Twitter. The cartoon skunk got canceled. Nobody is safe. Okay. Now, with that said,
that's cool.
favorite.
Let's go.
By the way, those Space Jam cards are super cool.
Thanks.
And they're a tough grade. They're really flimsy paper.
Yeah. But yeah, favorite creator. Yikes, it's tough. It's another cop-out answer, but I'm gonna go with the card ladder team.
Oh God, I'll give you a cop-out answer. It should be your answer every time. It's ShaiwayVlogs, and his answer is you. Come on, teamwork.
Wait, I just got a phone call. What did Max say? God, this do not disturb is not working.
He said his favorite content creator was you.
For real?
Yes.
Yep.
You swear to?
Without
I
hesitation.
would never even dream about saying any other name.
God, now I have to choose you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you
All right.
do.
I choose
It's
him
unfortunate.
first. After him, I'll go to the second one. Thank you, Putnam. You're my favorite also of all time. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like, Sasha's videos and his content. I saw a couple of his stuff. He keeps it pretty real. I like that. He says numbers. A lot of these guys, they hide their numbers. You know what I mean? Like we just want to know. I know we're being nosy, but come on, let's be real. We want to know what you bought it for, what you sold it for. Everybody thinking in their head. But he's pretty transparent with it. The editing is good. And he has a whole camera crew, and I want a camera crew. So hopefully that happens in the next Dallas show. Me and Lamim, we're already talking. Like if he ever comes out, we're gonna do some fun damage at the shows.
You would crush with the camera crew, Shay.
Yeah, because it's hard to hold the camera up and make sure try to get everything and still use your head and go along. But with the camera crew, I think it'd be a lot more fun.
Kate, who's your favorite content creator on the gram?
Me.
I know you got to run soon. Cool. Last one. I'm going to start with Shay for this. Favorite card in your personal collection?
Oh, that's easy. My favorite card in my collection is the Michael Jordan Platinum Portraits that I have. Arena Designs. I think I posted it on my last post. It was next to the BAMs or whatever. It's a card made out of die cut lasers in the late 90s. The card stock mattered so much. If they didn't use the right cotton count on the card would burn with the lasers. So that's how deep thinking things were going in the hobby with these inserts, and it's extremely rare, and it looks dope as hell. So that's definitely my favorite card.
Max, I love your collection. I think your collection's sick. My favorite card in your collection is the Kobe Topps paper BGS 10. People don't realize how difficult. I graded probably 20, 30 of those cards. I went heavy on Kobe last year. That's the hardest card to grade. Paper is so much more difficult to grade than Chrome. And to get a 10 on that card, it's a beautiful card.
Thanks. I appreciate that. And honestly, my favorite card in my collection changes every week. I have a different favorite card. It changes very frequently. But right now, and Shay might be shocked to hear this, but I'll probably go with my 86 Fleer Jordan PSA 9. I don't know what's going on with me in that card and like some of the more higher pop iconic cards, but there's just something about it. It's the card, it's culture, it's a piece of history. So I don't know. That's maybe one of my favorites at the moment.
Cage, your Ronda
So I
Rousey
didn't really
PSA
get
10
to
is your
answer.
favorite?
I didn't get a chance to answer who my favorite content creator was because I made a joke that said me, and you moved right along. But my favorite content creator out there, there's a lot of really good ones. My favorite is actually Sam Conrad, little Luca Nation Conrad. I mean, the kid is 16 years old, and the stuff he puts out is awesome. Really digestible, great stuff, funny stuff. Doesn't take himself too seriously, but he is knowledgeable. And with what we do with the podcast stuff, we get to meet new people all the time. And literally every person that I speak to, have on the Come Up with Cage, my other show, everybody universally says, "Oh, I know you guys are working with Conrad. He's awesome. He's so smart. He helped me with this. Or, that guy really knows what he's doing. And he's so young." So there's my favorite content creator.
He's dynamic too, Cage, right? He could do like something like an in-depth NBA post, and he could do like a kind of a skit with him rapping.
Yep.
I didn't see you go in that direction.
My favorite card in my collection currently, not the most valuable by a long shot. My favorite card in my collection is it is a Prism Silver PSA 9 Zion. And the reason for it is the story behind it. And it's a story that still I need to conclude the story. But I was opening packs of blasters, Prism blasters, with my son at a card show, and he pulled that card. And it was just one of these heaters, like Shayway at a blackjack table, where the guy had blasters, a Prism for $35 a box. And my son says, "Let me grab a blaster." And I said, "Okay, $35. Here you go, $35. You got it done." He opens the first box. He gets a jaw. And I'm like, "All right, that's cool." He's like, "I want to buy another one. Let's walk around the show. You name it. Same guys, same 5 blasters sitting at his table." And I said, "All right, we'll go back to the next one." We work to the next one, and he pulls a Zion. Right out of the Zion Beauty. Right. So I'm looking at the Zion. The guy who owns the boxes comes over and says, "I'll buy that from you. I'll give you 2 more boxes." So $70. I think that's probably around where it was at the time. But Ian gets to open 2 more boxes. I said, "Ian, we don't have one of these. Like, this is the first one of these we got. Let's hang on to it. Let's not trade." He said, "Well, can I at least buy another blaster?" Now, there's now people all around looking at these blasters to buy them. No one's buying them because now they think Ian's pulled all the heat out of these things, right? Third blaster pulls another Zion. This one's got a little centering issue, a little bit of scratch on it. So Ian shows it to the dealer. He says, "I'll still give you the last 2." Bunch of guys had opportunity to buy these other boxes. Box number 4, Ian pulls Zion Silver that we grade and get a PSA 9 on. Here's the fun part, guys. In box 5, pulled the Zion Green Pulsar out of 25.
Ian, Cage is looking over his shoulder to see if Ian's listening to the story, because this one is still in grading from 12 months ago or 16 months ago.
Where's that Green Pulsar? Still have it?
PSA lost it in the mail.
Yeah, it's a PSA.
Oh God.
Wink, wink, nod, nod. Cage traded it for a Ronda Rousey Topps PSA 10.
No, I did not. It was very off center. It's actually, the card is on my page. It's like one of the few stories that I kept and saved. It's right up on top. You can see it. You can see the Zion Pulsar. So anyway, the 9 is here graded in silver. So it's a cool one. Reminds me of the story. Opening cards and opening packs with with my son at a card show. So it's my favorite.
Cage plays the nice guy role, but he's kind of a savage. So he sends cards to PSA. The 10s he keeps. The 9s he gives to Ian.
That's true. 100% true. I can give him nothing. That would be savage.
Does Ian have an Instagram? So I can inform him?
Ian, what's your Instagram now?
I mean, he's just
Ian's
getting
card
scammed.
review?
It's
He's just getting ripped
Ian's
right now.
card coloring. Ian's card coloring.
Oh, well, he's going to get a DM from me.
You know what's funny? Adam, real 27 guy, has a kid, I think around your son's age, Ian. He has a own little collection in his Instagram. They should be friends, and this is going to be the future generation. We got a Cage's kid.
Gotta do it.
Real 27 Adam guy's kid. That's the future of the hobby, and they're in good hands, I think.
Listen,
They know well.
Hobby kids. I was a hobby kid. My father got me into it. I used to do card shows with my dad and stuff like that as well. So this is what happens.
Guys,
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap here. Can you let Luca Nation know where they could find you guys? Because I want to make sure they follow you, they subscribe to your podcast. you guys have a YouTube channel as well?
Link in bio.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's just hobby update on YouTube, and you can find us. Me on Instagram at PutnamCards, and Shay at ShaiwayVlogs.
We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts. Just type in hobby update. You will see the links are in both of our bios. Please tune in. It's always a good time. We're socially awkward people, and this podcast, when we do it together, it's sometimes it's like it comes out into like something interesting. Like
Sometimes
Combining the ingredients, right? You got a good ingredient combination.
It's a little different. Yeah, it's a little different. So just check it
So
out.
video-
Can you add a segment? Add a segment called, Tales from the Headboard. So look at that. You got the headboard behind
Look,
you.
you know
it's
why?
bad,
Look. Before you guys talk all this crap, look at my living room floors.
that's a New York apartment. That's a New York apartment right there. I know one from.
There's a hole, and I just bought a card that basically is more than the renovation that I'm supposed to be doing. So if I was married, I would not have bought that card. You know what I mean? The wife would have been like, "Are you crazy? Look at where you're living. You want to go do a card." But
When's the big reveal on the card?
Tomorrow. So yeah. You know what? I'm gonna promote that too. You know what? Check out the new Dallas card pickup that I'll be posting soon. I think it'll be exciting. It's a card nobody has ever seen, and a lot of guys are like, very interesting option. So,
Max, you're a New York guy too, right?
I'm in Michigan.
Michigan guy. Shay, where are you living in New York? Are you Brooklyn, Queens?
I'm in Queens, not too far from Cage. I think you're in Long Island, right? Yeah, but I'm in Astoria, Queens. Like it's like 10 minutes from Manhattan, close to the piers or whatever. I don't even know if this information is good. Like I just said where I was living. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Queens is a pretty big place. But yes, our rabid fans will be following you around. Hey, maybe someone from the
Go ahead.
Knicks. How good are the Knicks for the NBA? Just being back in the playoffs, Madison Square Garden. That was fun. Whether you're a Knicks fan or not.
I mean, I'm sure. I think House of Highlights posted that video of all the Knicks fans going crazy. That's New York. So expect it to get crazy and crazier the deeper and deeper they make a run in the playoffs. And remember, 99 Knicks, 8th seed. I remember where I was, and New York was going crazy. Sprewell, Camby, I think that era in 99. Yep. So the whole New York was jumping. So I think 20 years later or something, what is that, 10 years later or whatever, we could they're the underdogs. So let's see what happens. It should be exciting.
I miss in Long Island this weekend. Plainview. You take a trip out to Plainview. We'll meet up at a show this weekend.
Yeah,
Long Island Card Show.
Yeah,
all right, I'll message you. Woohoo!
All right, sounds good.
Oh yeah, we're gonna kill it. That's it. We're gonna buy all of the old vintage cards out of binders that shows up at Long Island shows. No one has any graded. It's all old vintage, ungraded.
Nice.
It's all fun stuff.
Yeah.
We're going on an hour 20. Let's wrap. This was one of my favorites. You guys are fucking stars. I love the dynamic here. And I appreciate you coming on, Shai, for the first time. Max, it was a pleasure to meet you. Putnam Cards. I wish you guys all the success. Luca Nation, please do me a favor. Go follow these guys both on Insta, the Hobby Update. They're great guys. And whether you're going for a run, you're driving to work, or just need to pass time, this is like the Joe Rogan experience of sports cards. Give them a listen. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Appreciate it,
guys.